At Air Canada 856, we're ready for a vector.
Canada 856, thanks. To the left heading 150 degrees.
Left heading 150, Air Canada 856. Severe turbulence on final.
Speedbird 72, runway 27 left, clear to land, surface wind is 230 degrees and 29, gusting 40 knots.
Clear land 27 left, Speedbird 72.
Hello and welcome to something very new on the channel. It's weekly top 10s of pretty much anything. And we're going to start today with top 10 safest airlines in the world. And kicking off the top 10 for today is Cathay Pacific. It's a Hong Kong based airline founded in 1946, and it makes it onto our top 10 of the safest airlines with a very respectable safety record. The last fatal accident was back in 1972, and since then it's made over 1 million flights without incident. The company serves more than 100 destinations in 36 different countries, and in 2009 almost flew 25 million passengers safely to different places around the globe. It's a company with several major industry awards to its name, including, most notably, Airline of the Year for 2014. And in joint 8th place is national carrier for Portugal, whose last major accident was in 1977. The company celebrated its 60th anniversary in 2005 and retains an outstanding safety record, flying to over 30 different countries and making an average of 1,600 flights per week. And perhaps one of its highest points was back in 1982, when it was entrusted with flying Pope Jean Paul II on his first trip to Portugal. As one of the most important public figures in the world, for the Pope to entrust his safety to a company like this speaks volumes. In 2009, 9 million passengers did the same. And the second of our 8th place entrants, and the only South American carrier on the list, is Aerolíneas Argentinas, and the company can trace its origins back to the 1920s, although the company only created its current identity in 1950 when it merged with several other Argentinian carriers. The airline narrowly survived bankruptcy in the 1990s, and in 2008 the government took back ownership. Despite all this turmoil, the company has ensured that it has remained exceedingly safe for passengers, with no fatal accidents since 1970. There was, however, one incident of food contaminated with cholera in 1992. We recommend that you avoid prawns. And flying in at number 7 on the list is probably the company that has to cover the most miles to get anywhere. It's Air New Zealand, and it's been in operation since 1965. Although its roots as an airline go back to 1940, it is the only airline that has flights covering the entire globe. So if you want to go and travel around the world in safety, this would probably be a good bet. Its last fatal accident occurred in 1979, and since then, over 1.5 million flights have passed without fatalities. It regularly wins awards from both consumer and industry panels, and annually carries somewhere in the region of 12 million passengers. And one of the smallest airlines on the list, Aer Lingus, isn't even the largest airline in its country. It is, however, the oldest still in operation in Ireland, having been founded in 1936. It currently flies to Europe, Africa and North America, and has gone over 40 years since its last fatal accident, and is approaching 2 million flights since then. Even when you incorporate non-fatal incidents, the last event of note was in 1986, demonstrating the dependability of this airline. It is estimated to carry approximately 10 million passengers every year. Finnair has a remarkable safety record, having no fatal accidents for almost 50 years, a record stretching as far back as 1963. While it has been best known as Finnair since 1953, its origins are in the 1920s, and it has an extremely colourful history. During World War II, it lost almost half of its fleet for use in the Finnish Air Force. It is amongst the oldest airlines still in operation, and is unique in that it actually flies through the Arctic for much shorter routes to Asia, and flies the 55 international destinations, carrying around 10 million passengers around the globe. Qantas has had a very successful 90-year history, despite having made recent news headlines after 2 of its planes suffered engine problems. Founded in Australia in 1920, it's one of the world's oldest airlines and flies to 182 destinations in 44 different countries. Its last fatal accident happened in 1951, meaning nearly 60 years ago. and more than 2.5 million flights have passed without major incident. If ever you are flying to Australia, this is the airline that is likely to get you there without anxiety and in one piece. And to get into the top 3 on the list of the safest airlines in the world, an airline needs an incredible safety record. The first entrant into the top 3 is ANA, the second largest carrier in Japan. Carrying several million passengers each year, ANA flies to 35 different countries and has flown successfully since 1975 without any accidents. It was founded in 1952 and has been, as you might expect, consistently recognised for its excellent punctuality as well as numerous other international safety awards for excellence. ANA's website lists safety as its #1 priority, and after so many flights without incident, it's clear that it's simply not just lip service. And founded in 1936 and flying to 170 destinations worldwide, Air Canada is one of the very safest airlines in the world, having made 4.84 million flights since its last fatal accident back in 1983. Perhaps somewhat surprisingly, this is the most recent fatal accident to befall any of the airlines on our list. But by virtue of having made so many flights since then without an incident, it remains an extremely safe choice for nervous flyers. It's a huge airline and now carries in excess of 35 million passengers each year and makes around 1,400 flights each day. I often think that we don't give ourselves enough credit for anything in this country, but one thing we can be proud of is that we know how to put a plane together. With no fatal accidents since 1976 and a staggering 6 million flights since then, it's a clear winner in our safety stakes. Having celebrated its 90th birthday in 2009, British Airways is among the very oldest still in operation, and also one of the very largest, flying to hundreds of destinations and carrying in excess of 30 to 40 million passengers every year. As safety records go, it's hard to beat. Thanks very much for watching this edition of Top 10, but don't forget, if you do have a suggestion, please do get in contact with us and we'll be happy to consider it for another video. But we'll catch you next time.